Alright, happy Tour De Fleece, everybody. I figured let's start off by introducing some of my wheels as I use them. So this is probably my favorite wheel I own. This is a Shacked matchless I bought used from Eugene Textile Center. It is a single treadle wheel, which I bought with the intention of upgrading to a double treadle in the future, which you do have the option to do so through Shacked. You can either send the wheel in and they will upgrade it for you, or they will send you the upgrade kit and you can do it yourself. The reason why I consider doing that is actually two of the pieces on the bottom of this wheel are no longer made. So when those two pieces break, you either need to know someone who 3D prints or you need to upgrade to a double treadle. With that being said, when I originally bought this, I figured I would do the upgrade, but I would use it as a single treadle to see if I liked it and if it was worth upgrading. And I actually prefer it as a single treadle. This is my favorite wheel. I just find it really easy to use. It can spin pretty much anything I want, especially with the 3 rolls that it came with. I think it comes standard with 2 if you buy them new. So I think if you can buy a used Shack matchless, for a good price, if it's still in good shape, the wheel is still true and everything, I think you can spend the rest of your life spinning on this one wheel and be very happy. Now, you may be like me and decide that you want to try other wheels for fun or for whatever reason you get interested in another one, which is my other wheel, which is looking at me from just behind the camera. But like I said, this is my favorite wheel. This is the one I'm probably going to use the most with Tour De Fleece, with the exception to another wheel that I have, in quotes, because I actually bought a replacement for one, and I'll talk about that once that wheel actually comes in. But let's stop yapping, actually sit down and start spinning, and get the Tour De Fleece going. Today is Tuesday, July 7th, and a quick update. And as you can see, I'm in a sweater because, weirdly enough, it's been kind of chilly here in the Bay Area. I think today's high was 68 or 70 degrees, and it's been pretty cool at night. And so I have needed a sweater in the mornings to deal with the temperature. But that green merino that I chose as my first spin, I actually finished the second bobbin this morning. So I would say they're both pretty consistent. There are some areas that are a little over twisted because I treadle pretty quickly and I didn't really want to redo the drive band to put on the larger whirl. This is usually the whirl I use anyway, but I also noticed, I would stop every so often just to check. It was getting kind of close to the other skein and either be going a little bit too fine, a little bit too thick. So I would say it's pretty good so far. Overall, I think they'll be fine. So now it's time to choose another color from the bin, and I have another solid pick, which I could start, or because of another spinner I follow on YouTube who is woolen spinning, Rachel, she did some really beautiful weaving in a color called Mushroom Hunt by Bramble Ridge, and I've just been eyeing that color quite a bit recently. And I kind of want to do something similar to what she did, just a little different. But I do have some of this 100% Polworth Copper Hills color from Greenwood Fiber, and I think I might want to spin this next, just to give myself a little break from merino. But I need to choose how I'm going to spin this. Either I might do a 2-ply fractal, or I might just do my kind of standard 2-ply, just kind of make it close to each other-ish. So I think we're going to start with this. Let me get this broken down and get spinning. And we're back. So today is July 10th, basically the last day of the first week of Tour De Fleece. So I figured might as well sit down since it's Friday night and do some more spinning and kind of talk about how my progress went, things I learned, things that came up, and kind of take it from there. So how did I do? Well, I did set a goal for spinning as many of the colors as possible for my woven design for Lambtown, and I think I've made pretty good progress so far. As you can see, I'm currently spinning on the newest braid that I discussed maybe a couple seconds ago for you, but it's been a few days for me. And so I have the first braid of green done, that's 4 ounces. This is the last little bit of the pre-drafted stuff I did from the second braid, and that braid was 5 ounces. And so total, I'm just about shy of 9 ounces spun in the first week. And that's pretty good. I would have liked to have been a little bit further along on this one and not finishing this tonight, but things kind of got away from me. And I also, well, of course I have to work, but I also learned some lessons, and I thought I would go into those too. So one of the stretch goals I have is to finish processing a fleece, a Corriedale fleece that I bought last year at Lambtown. And I had previously washed all the locks, and I wanted to get a start on drum carding, but get all the locks flicked. So I was doing some lock popping, and I noticed there was like this sticky kind of feeling on my hands, which I thought was weird because I had this happen before with a merino fleece, the first one that I ever bought, and thought, well, this is weird, but not all of it has that problem. But, you know, when I opened the bin, it smelled kind of soapy, and so I had a feeling that not all the soap had gotten out of the fleece. So I was talking with my sheep to shawl group, getting some ideas, and kind of the consensus was I needed to rewash the fleece. But one member mentioned that what he does is he'll take a small portion of the fleece once it's been separated. He will wash it and go through the entire process of carding to spinning it to make sure that the process he's going to need to go through the rest of it works. And turns out I'm not that patient. I will try to speed through the washing part as fast as possible to get to the carding and then the spinning. But I decided to heed their advice, and I went ahead and rewashed it, and I tested my water. And my water temperature, which I can't control, it was at 127 or 130 Fahrenheit, and turns out that's kind of a little too low, because what I ended up doing was I did a wash, just a plain wash, to see if there's anything still in there, and there's still some what seemed like soap residue. And so I decided to then raise the temperature by boiling some water on the stove and in the kettle to see if maybe there was still lanolin in there that got trapped. And so I did that with the Corriedale. I did some with a black merino that I have that I also thought I was done with. Turns out both of them needed another rinse, a full wash, to get the rest of whatever was in there out. When I took them out of the nylon bags that I use, and you know they'll kind of stay together, a little fluffy but together. But when I took them out this time, the locks were noticeably fluffier. So that's telling me I need to improve my scouring method by raising the temperature of the water to at least 140. And so I think I shot around 145, 150 was the max I think I got to. So now I'm thinking about how much work it's going to be to wash 3 fleeces again. And no, I didn't just add a random fleece in. There is a third. This one was a random fleece at Lambtown the first time I went, about 3 years ago. And it wasn't labeled, but I figured it's a CVM based on all the characteristics. And it's beautiful shades of gray. It really is a beautiful fleece. And I washed it, and I had the same problem that I had with the Corriedale, and so I put that one away till I could figure out what to do with it. But now I have that fleece as well as the black merino and the Corriedale. So now I have 3 to rewash and to make sure I get the temperature hot. And since I don't want to really boil water on the stove all the time, I bought some really inexpensive, larger capacity kettles, electric kettles that I will use when I need to scour. So I can scour a little bit quicker. But that's also assuming that this method worked and I got everything out. So I will check back in another day or two once everything's dry, because I just did that in between tasks this morning. But I did actually flick quite a bit of the fleece, not a huge amount, but probably a pound. And so I actually have a bunch of bats that I'm going to spin just with how they are, and then I'll really wash the yarn. But those will be my sampling, I think, bats, so I can figure out what the yarn is going to be, what the purpose of that fleece is going to be. But I'm thinking I want a sweater out of that. Well, I think I'm going to wrap up here. I'm going to try to finish this little bit of fluff tonight. I should be able to, but I also need to do a bit of spinning for my sheep to shawl meeting tomorrow to make some sample cards, because we're going to be doing some actual spinning and skill building tomorrow. And if I can't get that tonight, that's fine. I can just kind of whip that out in the morning before the meeting. And hopefully you are having a good Tour De Fleece. Now let me know down in the comments how things are going for you. Any kind of questions you have for me. And I'll catch you next week when we are through week 2. And hopefully next week I should have my new wheel, which is my plying wheel, which I've been out of for a couple days since I upgraded to a new version. But I will talk about that when it comes, hopefully soon. And happy spinning. See you next time. Bye.